let's talk about wheelies. Alright guys, so at this point, if you're wanting to know how to do a wheelie, you're either curious for the future or you're already confident in your bike. If you are the first one, do not try to do wheelies until you're confident with your bike. That is how you get injured. Now I'm going to go over here in the shade and start explaining. Alright, there's a couple big rules whenever it comes to practicing wheelies. First one is find a safe place. This is a safe place. There's hardly any traffic ever on this road. It's a business park, so everywhere out of here shuts down at like 5. It's 5:45, so doing pretty good on that one. There's trees everywhere. It kills all the noise. It draws in less attention. Hardly anybody's probably ever going to see me. So if I do screw up or if I'm not good, I don't feel pressured by other people. That's kind of a big deal for some people. It's relatively flat, and it's very straight. As you can see, this is actually a really straight road. So those are very important things. Most important one is there's like no traffic here. You want as little to no bystanders in cars or on feet as possible. Number 2 is gear up. I only put that before number 1 because it's more important not to run into people than it is to be dressed up. Gloves, mandatory. Armor jacket, very, 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 very recommended, if not mandatory. Helmet is mandatory in most places anyway. Pants that fit well, that cover your legs at a minimum. Armored pants are good. I don't own a set, so I just wear pants that are full cover, denim jeans. I don't wear board shorts or like basketball shorts or anything like that. And shoes that fit well. Number 3 is be confident in your riding skills and abilities. Don't go into this being scared of the bike or still getting adjusted to the bike. If you're not ready to ride the bike on the road confidently, you're definitely not ready to wheelie it. Number 4, take your time, be cool with it, don't rush it. So don't jump into this thinking you're going to do big wheelies instantly, because then you'll have your spirits crushed. And number 2, once you do start to get the wheelie up, don't try to overdo it because that's how you hurt yourself. Alright, so that's the basics as far as what to do before you get ready to wheelie. Now you've checked off all of those boxes and you're ready to wheelie. So, tactic for wheeling that I use, I'm on a Yamaha WR250X. I also don't weigh very much, so I rev my bike up a little bit higher than what most people do, and I'm going a little bit faster. Reason being, whenever I transfer my weight to the back of the bike to sit back on the back side of the seat, it doesn't do a whole lot for me. It does a little bit, but not a whole lot. I don't weigh very much. I'm a pretty little dude. So, that being said, take that into account, work it slow. Don't do exactly as I do. Use this as a guide to take notes from. Now, you're ready to do it. What you want to do is scoot far back on your seat. I sit right about here. So, as you can see, I'm in front of the rear tire still, but center line of my body's right about there. Every bike's going to be a little bit different. Some bikes you can't scoot back on, so there's that. But what I do, this is what works for me, is I do clutch up wheelies. Reason being is this bike isn't very good at power wheelies. Clutch up wheelies are also more predictable, more controllable, and just all around easier to get the hang of than trying to get power wheelies all the time. So, what I do is I'll grab the throttle. Obviously, I'm riding. And I'll give it a little bit of gas. And that'll send more of the weight towards the back of the bike. And then I will pop the clutch, let off the clutch, and then I will goose it a little bit more, and that'll start to break the level plane of the bike and get it up in the air. Important note that I've never heard anybody talk about in a wheelie video. Maybe I haven't watched enough, but very, 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 very important is that you realize the higher up your front wheel gets, the faster it will continue to go up. Leverage works like that. It's called physics and all those fun things. The higher up your front wheel gets, the less effort it takes for the back wheel to go up underneath of it. So as the bike comes up, you want to start to let off the throttle a little bit, otherwise it will start to come up a lot faster. Take that in a note. Most likely whenever you start getting wheelies, you're going to be more focused on trying to get the front wheel off the ground than you are controlling the wheel once it gets like above about yay high. So that being said, let's get into wheeling, show you guys the process, show it in action, and go over a couple other basic tips. What you want to do is get turned around, get facing where you want to go, know that it's safe, all that fun stuff. And then I do my wheelies in second gear, and I'm going about 20 miles an hour. Start below that, start around 17, see what happens. If you have to go up, go up. If it comes up too fast, drop down a little bit. This bike, these rules are specifically for my weight, my body build, and my style on my bike. So you're ready to do a wheelie. Your first wheelies are probably going to look something like this. So I'm going to scoot back, I'm going to goose it, and I'm going to pop the clutch. That's probably what it's going to look like the first time you do a wheelie. You're probably going to get terrified of the bike, it's going to feel weird, and you're going to want to let off. Now, if you want a very good video on representation of what wheelies are like the first time you ride them, Yummy R6 recorded him practicing wheelies with Chase on 2 wheels, and it's absolutely hilarious because Yummy hadn't really done a whole lot for wheeling, so he'll get the bike barely off the ground and freak out. But I love that he recorded that because it's like very honest, and so many people gave him crap for being scared of being wheelies. Being scared of doing wheelies, but really that's what it's like for pretty much everybody the first time you do a wheelie. So I'm really glad that he actually recorded that. I turned my... Another very important thing, once you start to get the wheel off the ground, it's a good habit to start whenever you begin wheeling, is cover your rear brake. And what that means is whenever you pop a wheelie, keep your foot on your rear brake down here. Reason being is if you ever start to come up too high, get in the habit of slamming the rear brake instead of just letting off the throttle. It's good to let off the gas, but get in the habit of pushing the rear brake as well. Because if you ever brake past balance point and start to go backwards, the only thing that you can do to save yourself is hit the rear brake. That's the only thing that'll keep you from looping the bike. So it's a good habit to have. You've practiced some wheelies and you've gotten some off the ground, and hopefully they're starting to look something about like... Well, that wasn't a good one. That, alright? That's about the height you want to get to. Once you kind of figure out what height you want to get, you need to work on controlling the bike once you get that high. So at that point, it's all about feathering the throttle on and off and just keeping it where you want. There we go. Alright, so once you start to get like that, that's about where you want to be as far as being confident in wheelies. After that, it's all about practice. The entire process is all about practice, but once you're able to do something like that, you've already found your style, you've already found what works for you, and then you're just working on critiquing what you have. The beginning of wheelies is trying to figure out what works. So be experimental whenever you start. So if I start at 20, that's how, or I normally pop my wheelies between 20 and 22, 23 miles an hour. I would recommend starting lower, and then if that doesn't work, bumping your speed up little by little. I started trying to get them up at 17, and let's see, so I'm gonna go 16. See, that took a lot more work and was a lot longer to get it up. So it's all about finding what works for you. So I normally start about 20. That actually took a while too. But yeah, it's all about finding what works for you with wheelies, but there we go. So hopefully you can see it in the video. Whenever I start to kind of get up near the top, I start to slow down on the throttle. I'm not on it and then drop it out completely. I just kind of release it a little bit. Another important thing when practicing wheelies is don't try not to pin it, because if you pin it and you start to come up, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So I'm going to turn the bike off. So that's pinned. I normally try to keep my wheelies around this range. So let's see. Off throttle, accelerating wheelie, pinned. So it's normally no more than 2/3 throttle. If you're having to give it more gas than that, you're just working too hard for it. So if you're having to pin your bike to get a wheelie, you're working way too hard to get that wheelie. We'll go over the technique again for this one. So you got gas, pop the clutch, and then throttle back onto it. All in one fluid motion. Something kind of like that. So something like that, guys. Whenever it comes to wheelies, it's all about timing and it's all about practice. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helped you out. I know that there's like 300 million, thousand, trillion videos on how to do wheelies, but it seems like every time somebody does a wheelie video, there's a little key piece of information that is in that video that's in like nobody else's. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm gonna go ride around a bit.